Hey, welcome to ZooBricks. My name is Maxine and I'm trying to build the world's largest Lego zoo. And today I'm tucking into my first enclosure at the zoo, my first exhibit. And a few months ago when I first started this project, I made a couple of sample exhibits just to see what they would look like. So this is one of the ones that I built, which is an otter enclosure. And it's a pretty cool exhibit, but I really want to get away from the squareness of it because it's very unnatural. So it's already sitting on its own little Mills plate here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and copy this concept and actually make a slightly larger exhibit over here, and I'll show you. I added these extra base plates here the other day just so I can play around, and I've just been sitting around here having a look at the back of this hill, seeing what I can do, and this makes a really nice natural barrier for certain species that aren't particularly good at climbing. So I thought, why not? Why not do an otter? What I need to do is I need to finish off all of the wedges on this rockwork here to actually make it look less repeaty. And I think what I'm going to do is say that enclosure looks pretty cool as it is. And my kind of idea is when people come into the zoo here, I want like a little bit of a square, maybe like a feature or something. I was kind of messing around with the big T-Rex before, seeing if he would look cool, kind of greeting people as they came down the hill. We've got the gift shop on the right hand side there, which is a great place to have it as people come in and as they go out of the zoo. And I thought it'd be really cool if I had an enclosure that went all the way kind of bowed out here and kind of bowed back in there. I think, you know, it's probably about 1.5 base plates in total that would be that this otter enclosure would take up. So it's going to be kind of a similar concept to this one. It's going to be quite flat. There'll be a little bit of topography in it, but not too much. The walls don't need to be massively tall because otters can't really climb as long as they're smooth facing. And yeah, so I'm going to have a go at building the very first enclosure for the otters. So I've been faffing on for quite a while with this otter pond, and I've tried a few different ways of doing it, and I thought I'll try and make it look natural, and I'll give it like a sandy kind of browny murky bottom because that's what it would look like naturally. But when I did that, it just looked really weird. It didn't look like water. Even though I put the panels over the top that were like a bluey color, it still didn't even look like water then. It just looked weird. So I swapped out the sand panels and I traded them for like different shades of blue, with the dark blue kind of representing the deepest part of the pond and the light blue kind of being around the edges. And then I used the trans blue panels, basically these, but in blue, and I stacked them up and put them on there. And then I used a bit of gray kind of angular pieces to contain them. So they're kind of loose sitting there, and there's a bit of a gap in there, so I could put fish underneath those. My only issue with this actual design is the fact that the otters can't go in the water and it looks like ice. So I'm not too happy with this solution. The idea for this whole kind of pond water feature is that there'll be some form of like source lake up here, which will then flow down here and into this pond. And then there'll be like a bit of a green hill here. Originally, I was just literally working on top of a base plate But then I decided that I should do this properly and inset the water into the mill's plate, so it's actually below the actual ground level. So this water level is one plate below the green, and it also, you know, it has a bit of depth to it, so it actually looks a bit more 3D, which is pretty cool. However, otters are not like God. They cannot walk on water, and he should not be like that. So I've got one more solution that I'm going to try, and it involves lots of tiny pieces. So we'll see what it looks like. Right, so I've just finished that idea. It was quite time consuming separating out all of the little transparent pieces. I'm pretty happy with how it looks. It's a little bit unusual. So it does look very rapidy. I've added a bit of rock work around the edges just to try and, you know, make it look a bit more natural, and obviously it fits in with the rock work around here, and obviously a couple of layers of green just to try and add a little bit of landscaping. But obviously we still need trees and plants and bushes and stuff, but just looking at the pond as it is, that's pretty cool. I'm not too sure. It's obviously by sticking the dark blue down at the base, that makes sure that the dark stays on the bottom, because naturally, you know, the water is not dark on the top. But I'm not sure if I just haven't got enough pieces, or if the clear is just not standing out enough, or this little rivery streamy bit looks pretty cool. But yeah, I'm not too sure. It does look like it's a massive raging river kind of flowing through this enclosure. But what's really cool is the fact that Mr. and Mrs. Otter can actually go in the water. So you kind of get the point there, really. You didn't really go in the water very well, but it's the idea that counts, the thought that counts. But yeah, they're in the water now, which is cool, rather than floating on top of glass. So I'm pretty pleased with how it looks. Obviously, due to the size of the pond now, I'm gonna have to move the perimeter fence back a little bit, because if not, the otters could go quick and jump straight out. So I think I'll probably pull this out just a little bit further, maybe suck it in on the sides a little bit, just so I don't lose too much space just for otters. With these being Asian short-clawed otters, which are the same ones that we have at the zoo, like their exhibit should be like 1/3 water to 2/3 land. They're actually more of a kind of a land-based species than some other species of otters, which need vast quantities of water. So I think the pond size is pretty cool compared to the otter size, similar to what we have here at the zoo. And then what I need to do next is continue on with the blue up here and try and make some sort of cascading water here. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. And then put the pond up on top here. I'm pretty pleased with today's progress with the otter enclosure. It's good to finally get stuck into actually building an exhibit for the zoo and showing you what it is that I've kind of got on my mind with regards to the future of this project. And this is the level of details that I want to get into for all of the different exhibits. So it's pretty cool that I can actually get stuck in now, and I'll hopefully get this enclosure finished in the next few days. So on another note, it's Bricktastic Festival in February down in Manchester, and I've never actually been before. I went to Shildon Brick Festival a few weeks ago, and that's obviously the largest one in the Northeast, but it'd be really, really cool to go to the Manchester show. But I was considering actually going and applying to have a table there, and maybe making like a little mini exhibit to take with me so that I could raise awareness for the ZooBricks channel. What do you think? Have you actually been to the show before? And do you think that would be worthwhile? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't done already, please do remember to subscribe to the ZooBricks channel and like this video, and I'll see you in the next update. Thanks for watching.